Hi, welcome back to Girls Dreaming Big's video blog series featuring incredible women and their story. I'm Stacy Taubman, founder and CEO of Girls Dreaming Big, and today we have a special guest, Janel Patterson. She is the co-founder and CEO of Frienedy, and you will be excited to hear about it because it is an amazing platform, and I can't wait for you to tell us more.
Thank you.
So Janel, let's dive in. How are you a girl dreaming big?
Well, thank you for having me, Stacy. I really appreciate it. It's always fun.
Yeah.
So how am I a girl dreaming big? I would say I bit off a big chunk about 5 years ago, and I would say that what I'm trying to do is ignite a movement to change a paradigm of social media, which is no small task. So I would say that is a massive dream.
Yeah, so tell us more about Frienedy.
So yeah, and I'll tell you kind of how it came about. So about 5-ish years ago, my oldest daughter was 11 and got her first iPhone. With the idea that she could text us when she was getting let out of practice early for gymnastics. She was spending a lot of time in the gym. But when you give an 11-year-old an iPhone, they want social media.
Yes, they
do.
we
quickly nipped that in the bud, we thought, to say, no to Facebook, no to Twitter. But she did get introduced to Instagram.
Right.
And unfortunately attracted a follower that resulted in a really terrifying experience for her and for me, as well as her mom. And when I saw what was going on and saw how what happened to her can happen to any innocent 11-year-old kid, I started thinking that there has to be a better way. And there has to be a way for parents to be able to kind of get ahead of it and be able to introduce their kids to social media the way they choose and within standards that they set in their household. And that there really was nothing in between.
Yeah.
It's all of a sudden these kids are forced to just jump in to Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter.
And now Periscope as well.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And while they're really technically proficient, they know more about my phone than I will ever know. That's a good thing, but they're not necessarily socially and emotionally ready and mature enough to handle all those decisions that literally follow them around for the rest of their lives and can cost them thousands of dollars in scholarships, cost them opportunities in college, cost them jobs.
Yeah. As a former math teacher, I found that a lot of the teens were so stressed about the different Twitter wars and things that were going on. So it's beyond just the future, it's also a little bit of bullying going on.
Oh, there's a lot of bullying. There's some crazy statistics that as a parent make my head spin. So things like, now there are studies that say anywhere from 37 to 65% of all kids have been cyberbullied. As many kids as I've talked to, I would say it's closer to that high end.
I would agree.
And just as many kids never tell their parents.
Really?
So their parents really don't always have a clue what's going on. And as a parent, if I didn't have the chance to introduce my kid to social media, I don't know, if I haven't had the opportunity to set the standards, they're writing the rules. That's not what I want for my child. And I really view my generation as that first generation of electronic parents sort of navigating those waters because I didn't have the opportunity or luxury of learning that from my parents.
So you're really figuring it out as you go as a parent.
Absolutely,
sure.
Yeah. What I wanted to create was sort of that private social media world. So my message and my mission with kids is it's okay to have your public social media as long as you're using it responsibly. And I try and talk to them about how to promote their brand and how to post productively on that billboard we know as Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. And then I try and help them understand that there are certain things that you don't post there, that you don't want broadcast across the news. And those are things that you're interacting in small groups with your family, with friends, with teams, with classrooms. Those are things that are more appropriate for Frienedy that won't be on the Google radar and won't follow you around for the rest of your life.
Right. And I think as teenagers, so many people forget that this is not some blink abyss when we put stuff on Facebook. I work with a lot of girls for sorority recruitment, and they don't realize that what they're putting out there, people are going to their Facebook pages, going to their Instagram and checking.
Yes.
And so it's nice to have something like Frienedy that has that private feel where you can still kind of, let your guard down.
Right.
And get a chance to still be a teenager and say the silly things you want to say, but it not have repercussions.
Right. And not just teens, but sororities. We have some really great traction with sororities. So if I'm in a sorority, everything I put on my Facebook page reflects my sorority's brand as well as mine.
Yes.
So there's a whole new world of consideration there. And if you kind of dial it back a notch and make that conscious decision about what should be private and put in Frienedy groups and what you should put out there on Twitter and Instagram to promote yourself and help you get that internship or that job, that's going to protect you and set you up for more success in the long run. And I sororities love it.
Yes, and I think it's so important to start thinking of Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as more of a way to promote yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, I think in the past we only used it for fun.
Right, it's changing.
It is, and what teenagers and young adults need to do is the opposite.
Absolutely.
You know, people who are looking for jobs and things like that, they're going to look at those sites. Those are no longer just for fun.
That's your resume.
That is your resume today, which is weird. It's a shift. We need to change the way we look at those things and make sure that when someone goes to those sites, they get a feel of who you are.
That's right.
And it sends the right message.
That's right.
But then Frienedy now, gives you that space to not be so formal.
That's exactly right, because I've hired people for Frienedy as we've grown. And it doesn't matter what their resume says to me, because I know that they can pick and choose whatever they want to put on their resume. So they don't have that luxury anymore like I did when I was 22. But what's more important to me is going out and seeing what they're doing in social media.
Right.
That gives me a better picture of who they are. And I've not hired people because of what I've seen.
I've heard many people and the hiring process communicate that to me. That we don't hire people because of the things we've seen on their Facebook page.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, it sounds like you're doing incredible things. I love Frienedy. I think everyone needs to check it out. But when I think about you taking on this massive project, you know, I think, how does someone have courage to do that?
Oh, that's tricky.
You know, because I know that before this, you weren't you know, online person.
No. My background is in business, all sales and sales management. That was my whole world. And so every day I struggle still. I mean, there are days where it's so hard, and I think, okay, maybe we had a little bug that we fixed, or maybe there's a new development challenge and new resources that we need to find or deploy. And it is constantly a struggle, but we've come so far, and every time you stop and you struggle, if you look back and see what you've accomplished, it gives you the strength and the courage and the inspiration just to keep on going. Plus, I'm absolutely on a mission to make a change, so that keeps me motivated too.
I think that's awesome, and I think it's because you know your why.
Yeah.
Because of what you experienced with your daughter.
Right.
That just gives you that that day when you're like, I just want to quit. Right. You're like, well, I don't want someone else to experience what my daughter experienced.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think you're such a good role model to people out there that want to start something like this, because, you know, you had this idea that was kind of out there at first.
Very out there,
You know, and you made it a reality, and you found investors. As a woman, it's very difficult. They've shown statistics to find investors is quite difficult.
Right.
And the fact that you were able to do it blows my mind.
It's hard. It takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of detail orientation, putting your business plan together, you know, pulling the statistics together, pulling the numbers together, pulling the financials, and being able to go out there and talk to people and pitch it, and not be afraid when you get negative feedback. And just keep on going until you find that person that's like, I love this idea, I want to get behind it. Because it will happen if you believe in it.
Absolutely. Speaking of advice, when you think back, is there any advice you'd give your younger self?
Definitely. And I would say, you know, I was a little bit later in life when I started this, and I would say the best piece of advice would be just don't be afraid to fail. Because the earlier you fail, the faster you will succeed. Especially, it's not about the failure, it's about how you recover from a failure. And if you're not afraid of what you're going to encounter, you're going to grow that much faster and that much more. So I would say, you know, don't be so worried about being perfect all the time, and don't be afraid to fail. And then if you do, learn from that to grow towards success.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, because as women, I think we always try to have everything so perfect before we step out, and that's not how things work.
Right. And it's okay to own it and say, you know, I screwed up, or I made this mistake, but it taught me X.
So what's been your favorite thing about this journey with Frienedy?
You know, it's funny, because originally I thought my very favorite thing would be, you know, talking to all of these parents and, you know, getting that light bulb to come on to understand, oh my gosh, here's a safe, private place for my kids to make a mistake. But what's really turned out to be my favorite thing is talking to teenagers and talking to like sorority girls, young women. And they're so smart. They're very inspiring. They have a lot of energy. And I love talking to them because they always bring new ideas to the table. I've got a junior advisory board of young ladies that always think of things that I haven't. And to me, that's really rewarding. And I love to see that energy. I love to see them getting the fact that their digital reputation is very important. And I love to see that light bulb turning on with them more than anything about, you know, where to put private information and where to interact and collaborate privately versus how to promote yourselves in a public atmosphere, the public social media.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're so thankful that you came on, because this way more young women can hear about Frienedy and hopefully go check it out. If they want to, what's the easiest way to find out more?
Yeah, thank you. So a couple things. You can go to YouTube and you can search on Frienedy. We've got a channel. Frienedy is spelled F-R-I-E-N-E-D-Y. So obviously Frienedy.com. You can sign up for an account. It's free. Or you can follow us on Twitter @Frienedy. Or of course we've got a Facebook page too, which you can go out and like, and we put all sorts of good stuff out there. And then Instagram and Pinterest, of course. So.
Well, wonderful.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for coming,
Thank you.
and I hope you all enjoyed it, and we will see you next week.